Dear viewers, my dear students, my dear learners, my dear well-wishers from here and there of the world, I like to thank you from the core of my heart. My dear students, please, you are welcome to my Facebook page, Momin Digital English Home, and also my YouTube channel in the same name. Dear students who are watching this video at this moment, please, you are requested to watch the video from the beginning to the end. And today's topic is making sentences present indefinite tense. Dear viewer, making sentences present indefinite tense. Dear students, it is not very hard, it is not very difficult, but though it is a trivial matter, I am going to make this video from the zero level, and in course of time the sentence making systems will be upgraded, the sentence making uh, rules will be upgraded, but from the 0 point I am starting, as because you should know the English speaking systems from A to Z. So think that it is the starting point. So dear viewers, my dear students, please be attentive. Please take a look at. While you are going to make any sentence of the present indefinite tense, first of all, you have to think the structure of the sentence. You have to think the structure of the sentence. First of all, we generally want to tell the assertive sentence. First of all, we generally want to tell the assertive sentence, and the assertive sentence is also divided into two parts. First of all, the affirmative sentence, and secondly the negative sentence. But I am now going to tell you about the affirmative sentence. And in the affirmative sentence, we should use a subject. At first. So dear students, you know what is the subject. A subject is a person or thing that does the action of the verb. So subject is a doer agent. The subject must be some noun or pronoun. The subject must be some noun or pronoun in the nominative case, and the subject must be some singular noun, some plural noun, verbal noun, gerund or infinitive phrases. So subject must be some noun pronoun or noun pronoun equivalent. Please try to understand. Just I am telling you. So I eat an apple. I eat an apple. Dear students, you just try to understand, this is the subject. So when you are telling that you eat an apple, so you want to tell like this way, I eat an apple. So first of all, you have to use the subject, and secondly you have to use the V1 according to the present indefinite tense. So while you are making sentences of present indefinite tense or present simple tense, you have to use the V1 after the subject, and the subject uh, must be used in two ways. If the subject is the third person singular number, then the sentence of this will be he. Suppose instead of I you are using he. Instead of I you are using he. So he eats an apple. He eats an apple. That means when you tell I eat an apple, this is possible because this is the subject first person plural. And when you tell he eats an apple, he eats an apple, he eats an apple, because This is third person singular. This is encircle. This encircle he is the third person singular. So the verb one has taken s with it. The verb one has taken s with it because of this he. So he makes this verb takes s or es with it because this is third person singular. He eats an apple. An apple. So dear viewers, you have to know just two things. When the subject is third person singular number, that means he, she, it, this, that, who singular, which singular, who singular, which singular, what singular, and what plus noun singular noun or which plus singular noun. Those are third person singular. So if the subject is third person singular, you should have to use s or yes with the verb one or the present form of the verb, and in the third phase you have to use some other words, that is etc. So etc, etc. So dear students, this is the 0 point of using or making any sentence of present indefinite tense using the action verb. In this case, you have to remember two things. If the subject is first person, second person, or third person plural. If the subject is first person singular or plural, second person and third person plural, the verb itself will have no change. The verb itself will have no change. And if the subject is third person singular, as I told you, the verb will have a little change. The verb one will take s or yes with it. So you will have no problem. I think you will be able to make sentences like this way. So you suppose you live in Chicago. Suppose you live in Chicago in Russia. So you live in Chicago in Russia. So dear students, how can you write this? He, I live in Chicago. Chicago. So dear students, because this is the first person, so there is no sense in the past. I live in Chicago. But when it is he, so he lives in Chicago. Or it is she, so she lives in Chicago. So suppose it is Brown lives in Chicago. But if it is we live in Chicago. So what do I want to tell you? That I live in Chicago, but Rohim lives in Dhaka. But Rohim lives in Dhaka. I live in Chicago, but Rohim lives in Dhaka, because Rohim third person singular number. So the verb one or present form of the verb has taken s with it. And in the third phase, you have to use generally some word. That means if it means some adverbial of place, so you have to use in or at before the noun. So in Dhaka, in Chicago, in Italy, in Bangladesh, in Asia, in London, etc. So dear viewers, dear students, you can understand. Rohim lives in Dhaka, so I can say Rohim lives in London. Samira lives in London. Meena lives in Rangpur in Bangladesh. Or anyone lives in Delhi of India, etc. So he lives in Chicago, but I live in Chicago. Or he lives in Chicago, so Rahim lives in Chicago or in Dhaka, etc. So you can understand that in this phase you can use any place, in plus any place, in plus any place, in Chicago, in Dhaka, in Kurigram, in the United States, in Darjeeling, or in Granada, etc., in New Zealand, etc. So, dear viewers, you can understand. So, while we are making any sentence or the present indefinite tense, we have to use the subject first, then we have to use the present form of the action verb. I am discussing about the action verb today, and after that, you have to use some words. If the main word is the noun, if the main word is noun, it is the head word. You see, this is the head word. Chicago is the head word. So before the head word, if it is some place, use some preposition like in or at. So please try to understand if somebody wants to use some place after the verb. So in that case, we have to remember two things. If the place is used as in general, we generally use in. Suppose Mr. Peter, Mr. Peter, Mr. Peter lives in London. Mr. Peter lives in London. So Mr. Peter lives in London, dear viewers. Mr. Peter lives in London. But Mr. Peter lives in London, but you have to tell Mr. Peter lives at Mr. Peter lives at home lives at home in London. Dear viewers, you see, this is a definite place. Home is a definite place or some specific place. That means I want to tell you that if there is any definite place in your sentence, please use at before it. But if you want to use some place in general, that means everybody use this word London. You say Mr. Peter lives in London, Hassan lives in London, I live in London. Everybody living in the UK also lives in London. Everybody lives in London. So in this case, this is in general. But at home is the specific case. This is the definite place, home. So before the definite place, you have to use at in your speaking or in your making sentence. So this is what I am telling you. I think you can understand. You have to use at before the definite place, and you have to use in before some noun denoting to some places. That is must be, that is in general, that is really in general. That means everybody can tell or speak like that way. He lives in London, Karim lives in London, I lives in London, you live in London. So in general. But Mr. Peter lives at home in London, I lives at a 5-star hotel in London, he lives at uh, community center in London, etc. So, dear students, dear learners, I think you can understand. And today I am going to make the end of this discussions, and from these discussions, I think you have understood how we can make sentence or the present indefinite tense using action verb. And if you have any problems, please let me know. And I think there will be no problem if you are positive. If you have a great positive mindset in learning English, you will be successful, and in course of time you should keep going on learning English, and I think there will be no problem. Wish you best of luck. Thank you, everybody.